Join me today on Walk with History, all about Buford Pusser, the real man behind Walking Tall.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the gentleman whose life is the subject of the movie Walking Tall, Buford Pusser. Hi, Buford.
Good to see you, John.
Hi, Jen of Walk with History, historian and veteran, and fan of the movie Walking Tall. Now, Walking Tall came out in 1973, and it was a cult classic. I mean, critically acclaimed, went from a $500,000 budget to grossing $40 million. This courthouse is used in the movie, and you remember the star, John Don Baker, will walk down these steps with his wife and mother after he's moved back to town and bought some land in the area. And this is where he first encounters his friend from the football team, telling him, hey, let's go out and have some fun, and getting involved in that illegal activity from the very beginning. Now, that part of the story is true, and he does get involved in that, and then he gets beat up by those people. Then he fights back, and that is where the legend of Walking Tall comes into place. We'll talk more about the real man, Buford Pusser, and him being the youngest sheriff in Tennessee. Now, Buford Pusser, the real man, is from McNairy County, Tennessee. And as you can see, this says Chester County Courthouse. When they filmed the movie, they didn't want it filmed in McNairy County because of the illegal activity and what it portrayed in the movie. They didn't want to be associated with that. So the next county over is Chester County, and they actually used this courthouse to film it. Now, the stick from Walking Tall, that is a true story. So Buford Pusser is a big man, 6'6", 250, and carrying the stick instead of a gun kind of helped intimidate people and keep the law and order. So you have to remember, Buford Pusser is coming into a very, very corrupt county. So the law has basically been bought off by all of these mafias. They call them like the state line mafia, the Dixie Mafia. These criminals who are operating right on the state line there between two jurisdictions of Tennessee and Mississippi. And so he has to come in as a lone wolf to clean it up. And in a way, he does it by himself with one other deputy. They take down moonshining stills. They take down illegal prostitution. They take down gambling. And he does it with a big stick because he's cleaning up the area and kind of showing this presence that he can't be bought off, and he is going to be the man to clean up the county. Now, he does get a lot of pushback. There are assassination attempts against him. He's stabbed, he's shot, they kill his wife. But the citizens believe in him. The citizens re-elect him. The citizens make him the youngest sheriff in Tennessee. So Buford Pusser served as the sheriff of McNairy County here from 1964 to 1970. He was born in this area, comes back to this area after his wrestling career. He served in the Marine Corps for a couple months. He is disqualified due to asthma, but he does do wrestling for a while and then comes back here and serves as sheriff of the area. And that's when he cleans up the county. Gets a lot of recognition for that. Buford Pusser is known for this big stick diplomacy. As you can see, the cutout here, just the photographs of him. That big stick diplomacy is from Theodore Roosevelt, that speak softly and carry a big stick. That quote that he gave, that's how Buford Pusser kind of ran his county, ran the law here, was carrying this big stick. It looked like a bat, acted kind of like a bat. And you can imagine a 6'6", 250-pound man wielding a bat like that. It would be a little intimidating. We're at the southern part of Tennessee here, right on the border of Mississippi. And there were a lot of stills, when you think of moonshining stills out in the country here, as well as motels along the border that did illegal gambling and prostitution. It had been going on for a while, and all of this activity brought not the greatest people into the area. So when Buford Pusser decides to clean it up, he really is a one-man show, because most of the law had been bought off by all of those illegal activity here. But the people were behind him. The people supported him. They didn't want that in their area. So Buford Pusser, as much as he had to walk tall and beat down all of the derelicts here, he had the city behind him. So here I'm standing beside a cutout of Buford Pusser, 6'6", 250. I mean, he was a wrestler before he became the sheriff of McNairy County, and he's known as Buford the Bull. He did like that wrestling before it became modern WWE, comes back here to his hometown where he was born and becomes sheriff of the area. The folklore is he wrestled a bear at the local fair. You can see the confidence he probably had in himself with his size to do something like that. So this is the Buford Pusser kitchen in the Buford Pusser house. So the ceiling is kind of tall, but 6'6", I mean, he must have been really close to the ceiling here. But yeah, where's this, the Buford Pusser kitchen in the home? So this museum is his home. So the hallway down to the bedrooms, full basement. You sit in the living room and do a video. So they have all the memorabilia. So I think this is the front door here. You don't come in the front door, you come in like a new door. But this house was built in 1971. The original house had burned, but he used the same floor plan because his wife was killed in '67, remember? But he added the basement. So this is one of the children's bedrooms in the Buford house. This is Mike's bedroom. But what's interesting about this is when Buford died, Elvis Presley came to the funeral, and Elvis Presley sat in this room because he didn't want to go to the funeral and take any of the attention away from the funeral for himself. He's always so self-aware, Elvis. And he sat here, and he sat here for a little while. The daughter came and checked on him twice, and the third time she came to check on him, he had snuck out the back door here. So this is the car that Buford Pusser is actually killed in. So it says here, famed lawman killed in crash. Memphis, Tennessee, Buford H. Pusser, 36, the former sheriff of McNairy County, whose brushes with violence and death were made into the motion picture Walking Tall, was killed today in an automobile accident. This is August 21st, 1974. He was returning from the county fair, and right along the county line, basically where he did a lot of his stuff. And this is the actual car, they have it here. Now, there's a lot of controversy around this death, right? Because how many assassination attempts were on Buford Pusser? One actually killed his wife. This was a car accident. He was the only one in the car. He dies from this. People speculate that something was done to the car to make the car crash. And although that investigation is still ongoing about what actually happened to him, but he had just signed on to star in the second and third chapters of his life. He was going to play himself in those movies, and it was that day that he is killed. It's very tragic. I'm on Highway 64 just north of Adamsville, Tennessee, and it's here on August 12th, 1974 that Buford Pusser died in an automobile accident. There's a marker here commemorating who he was and walking tall, his impact on American history, but also that this is the location where he died that day. We're gonna leave a flag and honor him for Walk with History. So I'm here in the Adamsville Cemetery where Buford Pusser is actually buried with his wife, Pauline. Now remember, she's killed in an ambush meant to kill him on August 12th, 1967. This doesn't deter Buford from fighting for truth and justice in the area and trying to bring the people who killed her to justice. He, however, will die in an automobile accident August 21st, 1974. Now his legacy still lives on, as you can see on his marker. He walked tall. The life of Buford Pusser still fascinates people today, from his real life story here in Adamsville, Tennessee, to the movie's Walking Tall. What narrative is correct, what narrative isn't? Either way, that lone wolf story fighting for justice resonates with all of us. He's definitely a part of American history. On to my next Walk with History.